Hello, my name's Elizabeth Osika, and I'm an associate professor at Chicago State University, as well as our campus administrator for Activity Insight. What I'd like to talk with you today about is a relatively new feature that Digital Measures has made available to us, and that is data imports through CSV files. So what I'd like to discuss today is what are CSV imports, why you would want to use them, actually walk you through an example of how we've used them on Chicago State campus, and then just identify a couple cautions if you choose to use this method. So first of all, what is a CSV import? This is an option under work request. So as an administrator, you can get to this just as you can any other type of work request. And it's nice because it allows for the immediate uploading of data into the system. So you're more in control of when things get uploaded. And that takes us into one of the primary reasons as to why you should use CVS imports. And again, the immediate availability of data. I don't know about you guys, but I am often working right up against deadlines. Faculty needs information added. I'm usually got 15 things going at once, and all of a sudden I realize that they need it now. And Digital Measures is really good about turning around work requests. They give you a 10-day limit. It's often much sooner than that, but there's times where I need it now. And the data import feature allows me to do that. It's also good if you have data that needs to be added outside of current systems. I know many of you have your banner or student information system connected, and you're pulling data into Digital Measures through, different systems or different databases. But there's always some data out there that's outside of any system that needs to be entered in by hand. And this is one way you can do it. And a third reason that I've been told by my faculty is sometimes it's easier for them just to enter data into a spreadsheet than it is to do it item by item, form by form. So if any of these reasons resound with you, then you'll want to check out actually how to do a CVS import. And let me give you an example so that we can walk through this with real data. And the reason we used it this semester was to allow faculty to add previous course evaluation data through a template. Okay, they had courses, and at our campus, prior to 2012, faculty were able to decide what courses they wanted to have evaluated by students and which ones they didn't. If they did choose to have a course evaluated by students, it was a paper process, and the paper was eventually returned to the faculty, and the faculty had ownership of all the evaluation data. So when we were rolling Activity Insight out, in order for the faculty members to get pre-existing course evaluation data, it had to be hand entered by them because they're the only one that had the information. So what we decided to do was to create a template to allow them a format and a structure, and then allow me easy access to move it into Digital Measures. So let's take this step by step. First of all, access the data import option through the work request. When you do this, the screen comes up, and the thing that you need to know is the field names that you're going to want to upload. And you get these from your configuration file. If you don't know where your configuration file is, Digital Measures was nice enough to put it right at the beginning of the data import request screen. So just click on that, figure out what screen you want to use. For this example, we were using scheduled teaching, and figure out what those field names are. I then created an Excel sheet with the various field names across the top in row 1. And these are the field names that Digital Measures recognizes: TYT term, TYY term, course course number, things that our faculty members, if I just gave them this, would have no clue what they were supposed to put there and how they were supposed to enter the data. So I put this in an Excel file, and I saved it because I'm going to use it later. And then from this, built a second sheet that I use for faculty. I created a template. So instead of term, I replaced it with the English word semester, and I actually, in the row below it, I gave them examples of what types of data they could include. Here you can have fall, spring, or summer. Year is year, course name is course name. I give them hints. This is what it should be listed as in banner. The subject code, I give them examples of what they can see. And I actually went and locked these first 2 rows of data because I didn't want them to mess with it. So now I have one sheet that has the actual header names that Digital Measure wants that I saved as a separate file. And I have this Excel sheet that I've saved that I'm going to distribute to faculty. So then I distributed the sheet to faculty, and I asked them to complete and return it to me. And you can see here Dr. Martis in the chemistry department has put in some of her fall courses from 2008, and she did it exactly right with what she needed to do. And when it got to me, all I had to do was save it, strip out those first 2 rows, copy in the header row from the spreadsheet that I saved, paste it in, add the username, here K Martis down, and then save it as a CSV. This keeps it very low time for me. There's not a lot of time or energy. All I have to do is pull it up, kind of check to make sure things look right, change those header rows, and save. Then I move into digital measures. I select the data import, and in step 1 it allows you to choose the file. So that CSV file that I created, you upload it, you select which database you want it to go to and what screen you're going to use. And you can see in this example we're using the education database with scheduled teaching. Then you simply select what the username is, and this field depends on what screen you selected. Sometimes you'll be asked for username, sometimes you won't. This screen is required to go to a specific individual, so we have to give it a username. I select what field it is, and you check users to make sure that the username you provide is actually connecting with the username that's in the system. You see here that I have success, and you move to the next step. And this is probably the most important step, is to determine the import rules. Here you have 3 options in the system that will display depending on what you're using. You may have an option that shows up that's just adding records. Here I don't have this because ours is connected with a username and a specific ID or index fields I'll talk about in a little bit, but you may see just create records. Here I have update existing records, or update existing records wherever there's a match, and if there's not a match, create new ones, which is what I did here. And you can see below here in italics that it tells you how they're going to check to see if there's an actual match with the record. And if you have any questions about this, you do have the more information button here that you can go to, and there's a good explanation there of what's happening. You click to import, it goes and it checks, it confirms what actions are going to happen. Here 23 records are going to be updated. It allows you to correct any errors. If for some reason some data that the faculty member entered isn't correct, you can go back to the CSV file, correct it, and start over. And then all you have to do is import the data, and bing bang boom, the data's in the system and your faculty is ready to use it. Just 2 cautions that I want to bring up that I've learned when doing this is, one, that once you import the data yourself, you lose that opportunity to have read-only security. So anything that you're putting in yourself, the fields aren't locked anymore. Faculty can go in and edit those. Just something to be aware of. If you allow digital measures to upload it, they can retain that read-only security. And the other thing is, I just want to hit on this again, is make sure you're selecting the correct import option. I've done this where I've had digital measures upload files and I didn't tell them that I needed them to match when possible, and then all of a sudden I've got duplicate records all over the place. So make sure you're checking the right import option when you do that. But basically, what I found is that this is a very quick, easy way to get data into the system that allows faculty some control as to what's happening and allows me to get the data in pretty effortlessly. Thank you for your time, and if you have any questions, I'd love to hear them after the next presentation. Thank you.